Hurricane Helene is making its mark on history, and Brandon, it continues to create change on how we protect the electrical grid.
That's right, Tara. When you think about who invented electricity, the names Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Edison may come to mind. But that was the 1700s and 1800s. When you think about electricity now in the Carolinas, Duke Energy comes to the mind of many. The company is coming off its biggest power restoration effort ever in North and South Carolina history. For any electricity, you need a conductor. That is essential for power transmission. A power restoration success of this size also needs a conductor. That is where Jason Holyfield comes in, the general manager of emergency preparedness for Duke Energy across North and South Carolina.
This was orders of magnitude more significant than anything we've ever experienced in the Carolinas in the past.
Holyfield is referring to Helene. The storm knocked out power to millions of customers across the Carolinas.
We had more than 23,000 people on the ground.
Duke Energy brought in crews from 32 U.S. states and 4 Canadian provinces, restoring power for 90% of customers in roughly a week.
That represented the line crews that were restoring power, setting poles, pulling wire. It also includes the vegetation crews that were, clearing trees from the roads, from the lines. It also includes the people that were on the ground doing damage assessment.
How much training goes into some of that work?
Oh, I tell you, I've talked to many linemen, and I've never met one that said they have learned it all. To start that work and to become proficient and skilled, it's probably a 4 to 6 year process.
While Holyfield was the conductor of getting the lights back on after Helene, Duke Energy lineman Miles Bell can be looked at as some of the manpower in the mission.
The lines were gone, the transformers were gone. It was just a 100% rebuild.
A rebuild that Bell says looked different from any other storm he has ever experienced.
We didn't even have power at our substations, so we literally started from ground zero. We had to get power back to our substations before we could even worry about getting the lines back up.
For Bell, this assignment was different in many ways, and it was not just the storm that made this a difficult recovery for him. Polk County, North Carolina is Bell's hometown.
Seeing the devastation, it really bothered me because I've been seeing this for almost 36 years, and now I come through and I don't even remember where some stuff was because things have changed so much.
One of the biggest issues for Duke Energy was road access, the power of water wiping out many roads here in Lake Lure, including the bridge that leads to Chimney Rock State Park. That is where this bad boy comes into play, the utility in the sky.
The helicopter was hovering about eye level with us, and they dropped that pole down in the hole there. And then we actually set 5 more poles up here on top with the helicopter that day.
Our drone footage shows some of the treacherous terrain the men and women would have had to hike without helicopter assistance.
We'd had to have enough people to literally just carry the pole because you can't get any track equipment or anything down there.
While the helicopter saved numerous days of work, the other big challenge was communication. The fix for that was a smaller device. Much smaller than a helicopter, of course.
We deployed 36 Starlink devices across parts of western North Carolina and upstate South Carolina, but we had to go out and secure those in a time where they were under great demand. Now we have contracts in place and we have the ability to deploy that number and more much more quickly in the future.
Speaking of looking ahead, Holyfield says newer base camps in the Helene-ravaged areas will lead to an even faster power restoration, preparing the power company for any major storms in the future.
Those locations and those sites are under contract and we can make quick use of them.
Another big challenge the workers face was a challenge that was hard to escape.
I was contacted at one point and they said, we have the beds we need, we have all the meals we need, but people can't sleep because of the things they're seeing during the day, the human impacts of this. We ended up having to put grief counselors in our base camps just for the crews to have someone to talk to.
It kind of just becomes your lifestyle, and your family knows, hey, when a storm hits, Daddy's going to be gone for a little while. Thankfully, I got a really good support group at home, and they kind of take care of themselves and then take care of me when I finally get there.
It is safe to say Duke Energy has had their biggest power restoration success in their Carolinas history, but the new hurricane season is here, and they are just as prepared for this season as they were for the last.
We are as strong as we were before Helene hit in terms of our staffing, our materials, our preparation. and we would be ready to respond.
The power is back on, but it is going to take years for Duke Energy to get its infrastructure back to where it was. When we look at the cost of all this, just in North Carolina alone, as of us recording this, Duke Energy has spent close to $1 billion. The company continues to search for other ways to recover those costs to keep rates lower for their customers.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.